Hey Scrappers, it's Vanessa here, and today I have a layout for Color Rush Studios, and I am playing along with the sketch for this month from Color Rush Studios. You've seen it at the beginning of the video. It will pop up in the corner in just a moment. But for my layout today, I am going to use that sketch, and I'm going to focus on the add-on or the bold kit, which is very much Americana. Could be 4th of July, could be summer party, summer anything, but it has a very red, white, and blue kind of feel to it. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do, because I'm going to do a few things off camera, and then we're going to come back and put this layout together. So off camera, I am going to fussy cut a few of these squares, because I'm going to use them for embellishments. And then from this 3x4, I am going to fussy cut this jar here, and I think the picnic basket. I don't think I'm going to use anything of the other cards on this page, so I'm going to do those pieces off camera. And then I think I'm going to mat my photos with this paper. And so I have 5 photos, four photos. So I have one more than the sketch, but I think mine are bigger, mine are smaller. So I'm also going to use this frazzle that was from the main kit, as well as this baseball from the main kit, because that's in one of my pictures. And then these 3 papers here are going to make up the papers that you see in the sketch. So I have this sort of simple dot pattern is going to be my background. I'm going to cut, this is going to represent the sort of rulers paper in the sketch, and then this geometric is going to be the larger square in the middle. So I'm going to, off camera, I'm going to cut down these papers, and then I'll assemble on camera. I'm going to take and run this along the edge of this blue paper as well. And then the other challenge this month was to pull something and use it on your page that is not from your scrapbook stash. So it could be anything that you find around your house or whatever, that you can pull in and put on your page. So I know this is, maybe it's cheating because it's still papery, but we had a box arrive from Amazon, and inside they always, or they don't always, but they sometimes have like packing paper. So I'm going to use this piece of packing paper, and I am going to, sorry about the noise, I am going to wrinkle it all up, and I'm going to use it as well as a layer for this. So there's going to be a layer here like this, with these 2 papers overlapping before you get to the red with the stars. And then I might use a little bit of this around my photos. Now, if you are worried about acid free, I would not suggest putting this near your photos. I print my own photos at home. I'm not looking for these to last 500 years or, 100 years or whatever. And so I'm not worried about putting, I'm going to mat my photos with a paper first, and then maybe put them on top of a piece of this as well. And so that's not a concern for me, but if it is for you, then maybe find something else that's not paper like this, that is definitely not acid free, or use it in a different place if you have this kind of a thing and you want to incorporate it into your layout. So yeah, just a heads up, that is what I'm going to do. The other thing I'm going to do off camera is I'm going to cut down these other papers, because the scraps that I have left of these papers, I am going to take this die, which just happens to be the die from Cartabella that matches this, or a lot of the papers which are from the Americana Summer collection in this kit, and I'm going to die cut some stars, because I'm also going to use that for embellishments on this page. The other thing that the sketch calls for is a giant title. I am going to not create my own giant title. I'm going to utilize the thickers that we got in this kit. So I plan to use a combination of the Celebrate, I think it's going to go Celebrate 4th of July, Having a Blast, or Celebrate 4th of July, Home of the Brave, maybe Having a Blast. I'm not sure if, I'm trying to decide if I'm going to use Home of the Brave as well, or if I'm just going to go Celebrate 4th of July, Having a Blast. It'll be something like that. I don't know that I'm going to put it this way. I might put it at the top and have it cascade into my photos, which are going to be kind of in the same location as the sketch. So we'll see how we do that when we come back. But off camera, I'm going to cut the papers down, get my torn papers ready so that we can glue it all down when I come back, and cut my stars, as well as do that little bit of fussy cutting, and then we'll be ready to put this together. Okay, I've gone ahead and cut all of my papers down, and I have the wrapping paper, or the packing paper. I have that ribbon cut down. So now we are going to place all of these papers down on the page, and I'm going to follow the same setup as the sketch. So at this point I'm following the sketch pretty much exactly as is. Like I said, I have one more photo I think than the sketch calls for, but the papers are laid out the same as the sketch. Pretty much everything else after that doesn't necessarily follow the sketch, but I definitely think you see the inspiration of it. Here is where I'm showing you. I am going to go off camera because I feel like the photos that I matted, the paper is too close to that steel blue colored background. So I'm going to use some more of the packing paper to mat around my photos. So we're going to glue all of this down, and normally I do cut this off, or I usually don't show this part on camera, but I figured I'd leave it in. And so I'm going to glue this little edge with my ribbon, and then I'm going to glue it underneath the paper. I do have to trim a little bit off the end, so I'm going to do that first, and then we're going to put some adhesive down and get that glued to my background. Once I have that done, I do have some Huddy Swap Gold Color Shine. I'm almost finished of that bottle actually. But I'm going to use that to add some gold splatters. And that is because the thickers that came in the kit have gold in the thicker set. So I decided to add some gold to this page since I was going to use the some of the gold stickers from that sheet. And I do apologize, my camera when I'm doing this likes to go in and out. It's a bit distracting, but basically I added those splatters. Again, most of it gets covered up, but you do see a little bit here and there. I'm going to set that off to the side to dry, and I turned the camera off and I did mat those photos, and then I placed them down on the page just like I showed you, basically the same location that I had them before. And so at this point I decided that I needed to put my title on next because I wanted to make sure that I was going to have room for it, and I wasn't 100% sure at this point where exactly I wanted it to go. So I'm going to lay it down. I do adjust it just ever so slightly, but it's going to stay in the same vicinity that it is right now. So I decided to go with, I was thinking about adding Home of the Brave, but I decided to just use Celebrate 4th of July, Having a Blast, because these were taken on the 4th of July. My family and friends of ours, we all rented a box that has like catered food, and it's like air conditioned inside, and then there's an outside that you can sit and watch the baseball game. And then after the game, there are fireworks for the 4th of July. So we spent one of our 4th of Julys. Actually, we did it a couple of times. And so this is pictures from one of those years. But we spent our 4th of July that way. And I figured this was kind of perfect since one of the challenges was, as well, from not only adding something that's not in your stash and in my case, the packing paper. But the other challenge was to have a long title. And so I definitely figured this works for a long title. The sketch shows like that you cut from pattern papers a word. I decided to not go that route. I was lazy and I didn't want to cut out letters. But I had all of those stickers and I thought this worked out perfectly. So at this point, with my title down, I now can come in with the embellishments and try to figure out where I want to place all of these. You do see that I did I die cut the stars from some of the pattern papers. Excuse me. And then I did fussy cut those images off of the 3x4 cards that I showed earlier in the video. So I also, from one of the pattern papers, I think it's what I matted the photos on, it was bows on the background. I did cut 2 of those to put on my fussy cut embellishments. And so I'm going to have a cluster that's down there at the bottom left, and then I'm going to have the second cluster, that's the picnic basket, that's over to the right. I thought about adding a cluster here to the middle of where the photos all kind of connect. I don't end up leaving that there. And it felt like I needed to have something up at the top. It felt naked, or like it was missing something by not having a cluster up there. And ultimately I felt like there was too much happening down by the photos with that center embellishment cluster. So I move actually that embellishment cluster up so that I have a 3 embellishment cluster with the baseball and the stars up at the top. And then I take away that middle cluster. You're going to see that here in a sec. But I felt like it had better balance when I went with that. Not that you have to always have a visual triangle, but in this case, I just felt like it looked better for this page. On that thicker sheet, there's a whole bunch of stars, and there's a whole bunch of little teeny tiny, and I mean they're small because they like stick to everything when you touch them, these little dots. So all of them that were on that sheet that you see right there, I'm going to take all of them off, and see, as soon as I touch them, they want to stick to your fingers. But I decided, hey, I'm going to use them like I would enamel dots. And I'm going to just place them around all of my clusters, and it definitely fills up the page. It just adds a little bit something extra. And so I'm going to add all of these in, and then I'm going to go off camera, glue all of this down, and we are going to call this one done. So don't forget, all the links are down below. And you can always use 10 Vanessa to get a little discount for things in the shop. And with that, guys, I'll catch you on the next one. Have a great day, everybody. Bye-bye.